It's time for RealAg Radio on Rural Radio Channel 147 on Sirius XM. RealAg Radio and RealAgriculture.com is your home for insight and analysis of the issues that are impacting your farm business. Let's get real and get connected with RealAg Radio.
Welcome to RealAg Radio here on Rural Radio Channel 147, Sirius XM. I am your host for the day, Lyndsey Smith. Sean Haney is still traveling. He's been all over this week, let me tell you. He was in Halifax, in Newfoundland, but he will be back for the issues panel tomorrow. So looking forward to that. We definitely have plenty of things to unpack. But of course, today is the Farmer Rapid Fire brought to you by Corteva Biologicals. We're going to hear from Kevin Bisschop out of BC, Jason Kehler from Manitoba, Gerrit Herrema, and Mike Groot out of Ontario. And then we'll head back west to talk to Lorelei Yeboah to talk about Corteva fungicides and some exciting products for the season ahead. And of course, some discussion on their Group 21 product that certainly should help with the fungicide resistance management issues that pulse growers certainly grapple with. So stick around for that at the end of the show. If you've got feedback on today's show, or frankly, if you are one of those people who, like my lineup today, are willing to be on the Farmer Rapid Fire, we would love to hear from you. It's always great to have unique voices, different provinces represented. And certainly after Sean and Pete as well, spending time on the Rock, it was great to hear how many people are listening in Newfoundland. Nova Scotia, we know we've got some fantastic listeners out in the Maritimes as well. So shout out to all of you. And if you would like to be part of the Farm Rapid Fire, you can give me an email, lsmith@realagriculture.com. You can call that RealAg listener line, 1-855-776-6147. You can, of course, also send your regular host an email, shaney@realagriculture.com. We are, of course, on social media as well. And that is one of those things that, hey, give us a follow. We've got a YouTube channel. Subscribe to that. We are on TikTok. We are on X, Facebook, Instagram, at Real Agriculture. If you search for us there, you will find us. It's a great way, of course, to keep up to date on upcoming episodes, on seeing if you missed the show, seeing who was on and heading back. We also, of course, will share, as our teammates are traveling across Canada and North America for the conference season, you'll catch some updates there. In fact, next week, I'm headed to CattleCon down in San Antonio, Texas. So looking forward to that. I have never been to Texas at all, let alone San Antonio. And the last CattleCon I was at, the NCBA gathering in Nashville, was, I hate to say it, almost 20 years ago. So we'll see how much is the same, how much is different in 20 years in the cattle business. Should be interesting nonetheless. Anyway, give us a follow, of course, on social media as well. Without further ado, though, I know this is really what you're here for, is for the farmers. So we are going to head now we're going to start in Chilliwack, BC, and talk to Kevin Bisschop and what he's dealing with this week on the farm in BC. All right, coming to us from somewhere around Chilliwack, BC, we assume, anyway, is Kevin Bisschop. Kevin, how are you?
I'm doing well. How are you, Lyndsey?
I'm doing well as well. I would think of all the farmers I will have on the Farmer Rapid Fire today, you will likely have the nicest weather. Am I right? Is it lovely where you are?
Yes, it's very, very lovely today. Actually, all January has been incredible weather.
All right. Okay. So other than rubbing our noses in it, because the rest of us have been dealing with school closures and buses not running and blizzards, etc., what challenges does a mild winter such as that, which you usually have, what does that mean for a dairy farmer, grain farmer like yourself to have to navigate when winter is not really winter?
Probably not really any challenges. It's the biggest concern, I think, is our grass is still green right now, and we have not had winter yet. So if it suddenly does turn cold really quickly, I guess we could really hurt the grass crop. Mm-hmm. But there's a little bit of possibly snow in the forecast for this weekend, but that's the first snow we would see all year so far. if it happens.
If it happens. Okay, so now for those listening who maybe haven't heard you on before, walk us through what your farm setup is. What do you have for fall seeded crops, the dairy, etc.?
Yeah, so I have a small dairy, about 45 milk cows on 50 acres, about 20 acres of corn silage and 30 acres of grass, orchard grass, fescue, or usually round bale, silage, hay type stuff. And then typically once the corn silage is harvested in the fall, then we plant ryegrass, winter wheat, triticale mix, and we double crop that, so we silage that in the spring before going back to corn silage again.
Right. So basically all of your acres are double cropped, if we can put it that way. Am I capturing that correctly?
Yeah.
Basically everything goes into forage in some way.
Yeah, everything is forage. We don't grow grain. There's no grain really grown here. So yeah, it's all corn silage and then perennial grass for hay and silage.
Mm-hmm. Now, you do deal with a few things, and I know this because, shout out to Kevin, joins us often on The Agronomist, Monday night, 8 p.m. Eastern, which is 5 o'clock your time. So whenever we talk about starter fertilizer or phosphorus levels or any of these things, it's always Kevin in the comments that gives us our head a shake onto what you deal with that maybe we don't necessarily deal with. So when we're thinking about like rainfall in a season, like what do you anticipate as trying to have to manage through as far as what you get for rainfall?
We typically get about 60 inches of rain a year.
Okay.
So that's normally October, November, December, January, February, March, typically the wettest months. And then, it's possible to be droughty, dry in June, July, August.
Okay.
So we're gifted that way, I guess. We're special. I don't know what you want to call it. But
blessed? I'm not sure if that's a blessing either.
Yeah, well, I don't know. Sometimes it's a curse, so.
Yeah, exactly. So, okay, so that does, so most of your moisture is falling as rain, not necessarily as snow, though obviously, yes, you get some snow. But it does allow for that, double cropping, because you've got obviously a pretty open fall, I would think. But let's talk a bit about, if we can touch on it, when it comes to like your fertility levels in soil, like because you've got the manure, because you've got lots of water, because you've got, frost-free days, does it create a lot of challenges in trying to keep some of these nutrient levels in line?
Yeah. I think that it might be coming down the line yet, legislation on making sure your phosphorus levels are stable or decreasing and not increasing. But we have so many animals here that the need to get rid of manure far exceeds the concern about the nutrient levels.
Right.
As bad as that sounds, but we just don't have any other options. Like we're surrounded three sides by mountains, and we have the ocean on the fourth side, and it's just not cost effective to get the manure out of the valley here. Mm-hmm. Although some of the poultry guys are pelletizing it and trucking it longer distances, but
that's a lot easier with chickens or turkeys than cattle, though.
Yeah, exactly. We just haven't. The technology, I think it's starting. There's some things that are happening in small scale, but it's just not feasible.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a huge challenge. The three sides mountains and an ocean. The three sides mountains gives me, I don't know. I get claustrophobic, but then you're like, oh, but then there's the ocean. So like, hey, that's fine. It opens up. It's
tough about claustrophobic.
Yeah, exactly.
Claustrophobic. I lived in Alberta for a year and then came back and visited the family one time, and I got off the airplane in Abbotsford, and I actually did feel claustrophobic. That was the only time I didn't feel it.
Yeah, that's how I feel in Revelstoke. I just feel like it's way too closed in. But that's the prairie in me. So there you go. I like being able to see the horizon. Yeah. Okay, so my question this week, which will be interesting to hear, is what is the last thing you changed on your farm after going to a conference, hearing a speaker, listening to a podcast? What's something you've changed recently on the farm from after learning about it from somebody else?
Beef on dairy.
Okay.
Possibly. A little bit. Started a lot longer ago, probably 6, 7, 8 years ago. I started feeding my baby calves 3 times a day versus twice.
Yep.
So that's something. Those two.
Yeah, those are big ones, I think.
That come to mind, yeah.
Yeah. So now with beef on dairy, how do you handle that in your farm? Do you identify sort of your bottom enders and they get a beef bull, or how does it look on your farm?
Yeah, I'm in the thinking stage right now, but it has been sex Holstein on my young stock.
Yep.
And then beef on all mature cows. But now, just came to light the last couple of weeks, we're having large quota increases coming in the next several years.
Yes.
So we are reconsidering how much young stock we need in inventory. So maybe reducing the amount of beef used in next coming years.
Yes.
Use a little more hope.
I saw that. That is like, it's something almost like an 18% increase in milk demand over the next 3 years kind of thing. Like, it's pretty major.
Yeah. Yeah, we have a big milk plant under construction right now in Abbotsford, and all Western Canada needs 18% to fill this milk plant.
Yeah. So. Yeah. Okay. So, well, I will say when I saw that, I do like that they're giving everybody some notice, because cows are pregnant for a while, and those calves take a while before they have a calf and also give milk. So if you need to build how many cows you have, it does take several years.
Yeah, and there's going to be a lot of guys who don't have barn space. Who, have to do something in that front to accommodate. So.
Yep, for sure. Okay. Very cool. That's a great answer, Kevin. Thank you so much. All right, we'll leave it there. Have a wonderful week. Thank you so much for joining me on the Farmer Rapid Fire.
No problem. Thank you. Anytime.
Okay, and maybe we'll see you Monday online. Okay, we'll see you then.
Probably. I'll be milking, listening to you guys.
All right. Okay, take care, Kevin. All right, we're going to take a quick break, and we're going to head to Manitoba next on the Farmer Rapid Fire, brought to you by Corteva Biologicals.
I'm the kind of guy who enjoys his freedom. Sure, I have a wife, kids, and a mortgage. But now I have new On-Deck herbicide for wheat and barley. Thanks to a unique combination of actives, it delivers both superior control of tough weeds like kochia and proactive resistance management with, listen to this, complete rotational freedom. You can't tie this wild stallion down. Spray for today, plan for tomorrow with new On-Deck herbicide. Visit your retailer or Corteva.ca to learn more.
The Canola School on RealAgriculture.com is your one-stop shop for everything a canola grower needs. Check out our free video series on YouTube for all the latest in canola agronomy, research, marketing, and more. Don't have time to watch? Download the podcast version of the Canola School on RealAgriculture.com or anywhere you download your podcasts. Stay on top of all things canola with the Canola School on RealAgriculture.com, brought to you by BASF and Invigor Hybrid Canola.
If you're serious about agriculture, RealAg's got you covered.
For over 10 years, we've listened to and shared what producers have to say about everything from policy to agronomy from coast to coast.
Keep up with the latest in Canadian agriculture at RealAgriculture.com through daily newsletters, and check out our YouTube channel.
Thanks for joining us in the RealAg community as we continue to cover and serve North American agriculture.
Welcome back to RealAg Radio here on Rural Radio Channel 147, Sirius XM. I am your host for the day, Lyndsey Smith, and it is Thursday, which means it is the Farmer Rapid Fire, brought to you by Corteva Biologicals. We're growing together. To learn more, visit biologicals.corteva.ca. All right, joining me now, actually from Potato Days, is Jason Kehler, based out of Carman, Manitoba. Jason, how are you?
I'm fine, thanks. How are you, Lyndsey?
I'm doing well. How are the Potato Days?
Well, it's going well. It's something that's the week after Ag Days. It's our potato growing community comes together in Brandon for some industry sessions and trade show, and going good.
Good. What's top of mind with potato growers right now? Is there a particular disease? Is it trade issues? What's the most interesting thing right now?
Well, I guess top of everybody's minds right now is probably Trump's obviously talking about some tariffs on February 1st. So being part of the process industry, we ship a lot of French fries south, and so I think everybody's kind of, I don't know if everybody articulates it, but everybody's kind of sitting on pins and needles a little bit, hoping that ag will maybe be exempted from some of those tariffs. But I guess time will tell.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can't say that there's probably a group that would be chill about it right now. Let's be honest. It's a big unknown.
In front of everybody's minds. Yeah, bet, yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Now, for those, which brings us to, obviously you grow potatoes if you're going to be at Potato Days, but catch us up for anyone who doesn't know what keeps you busy on the farm. What crops do you grow?
Well, we farm at Carman, so we grow a variety of crops on our farm. Obviously, potatoes, as we've just mentioned, but we also grow corn, wheat, oats, canola, ryegrass, peas, and we raise some cattle. So we have a variety of things to keep us busy.
Mm-hmm. Never a boring day at your farm, I would imagine.
Not ever.
Not ever. Now, with cattle, are you cow-calf, or do you feed, or do you do all of it? What's that look like?
We have a herd of mother cows, so we operate a small cow-calf operation. We have registered horned Hereford cattle, and so we raise calves.
Horned Hereford. So like on the corned beef can, there's a horned Hereford. That's your cows.
Yeah, that's the one, eh? That's the one. That's the brand we have to buy.
That's right. You have no choice. That's what you have to buy. Okay.
No, I think it's called Hereford corned beef too, isn't it?
I think it is. Yeah, absolutely. And we just had on the show, we had Jill Harvey at a Harvey Ranching out of Alberta.
You bet.
Yeah, they won with their Hereford bulls. They won the carload class down at Denver. So,
I heard
cool.
that. Good for them.
Yeah, exactly. It's pretty cool. Okay, so potatoes, corn, wheat. I mean, that's a laundry list of crops to be growing, which I think for many areas people don't realize. Western Canada is pretty amazing that way. You can have such a list of crops that you grow. Which ones do you think are penciling out the best for this year? It's a challenging year ahead.
Yeah, I think we've been a bit. We've had a good go here in ag, in farming. Last 10 years, things have been pretty easy to make pencil. Obviously, we've had to, really go over our numbers going into the 25 crop season. I think we still have opportunity to make money, but wheat, canola, not a whole lot of room there. I think we can still make money with corn. I would say on our farm, corn is the crop that pencils the best. Corn and potatoes. Ryegrass does well for us. We grow ryegrass for seed. So those crops still look like they were going to be profitable. Soybeans, a little harder to get into the black. It's farming, right? We roll with the punches. Back in the 90s, I can remember when I was, younger and my dad still bore the brunt of the responsibility on the farm. Things were pretty lean. We farmed with, I started farming because I loved it. And that was just how we farmed. We stretched the dollar. We fixed a lot of machinery. And, I'm glad I learned those lessons at a young age. I think now we're entering maybe a little bit of a phase where we enter that sort of a method of operating again. I think it's as long as we're willing to tighten our belts and maybe, be a little ingenuitive, do a little less at times, I think we'll still be okay.
Mm-hmm. I would say it is very true that when there aren't a lot of extra dollars around, you do make do, but you also have to learn to fix things and keep them running and those sorts of things, which maybe we've lost a little bit of that, especially as equipment gets more complicated. So we'll see. Maybe we'll have a revival of such things.
Well, and farming's been good, and it's great. It's awesome. Everybody's made some money, and maybe it's easier to trade a combine off or a piece of machinery rather than fix it. Now we just maybe change that mindset a little bit. Well, maybe we'll go over that combine again, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. Now, excellent timing being at Potato Days, so thank you for that. Because my question of the week actually kind of pertains to that. In that, my question is, what is the last thing you changed on the farm, or most recently, after hearing a conference speaker or attending a webinar, listening to a podcast? What's the last change you implemented because somebody else sort of planted that seed of an idea?
Oh boy, that's just have to think about that just a hot second. We try to make some changes every year. Always try to better ourselves. I would have to say perhaps maybe the way we irrigate. There's a lot of technology coming along down in irrigation, and so I think going to maybe VR irrigation is something that we've changed after listening to a speaker about that and seeing that.
Cool. Is that complicated, or is it relatively straightforward?
Not particularly complicated. I mean, we use VR technology on our farm as far as fertilizer application and seeding goes already. So you just need to have a soil map, and with your zones, and then you do have to make some modifications to your pivots to allow your nozzles to shut off and start. So we just program that map into the console of the pivot, and it automatically follows the soil zones and puts the required amount of water on it in the right spots. And it's actually very efficient. I would say we only have it on one pivot right now, but it probably saves. We use about 3/4 of the water we would normally on a normal pivot.
Wow, that seems worth it.
So definite. Yeah, water is a precious resource.
Yep, absolutely.
So we have to conserve it whenever we can.
Yep, absolutely. Okay, very cool. That's a great answer. All right, Jason, that about does it for me and the Farmer Rapid Fire. So enjoy Potato Days. I can only imagine how good the snacks are. And we'll talk to you again on the Farmer Rapid Fire.
We just had potato donuts, actually. That's how good the snacks
I'm sorry, what? Potato donuts?
We just had potato donuts.
Okay. If you could send those, that would be great. I would like to try them. Yeah.
You bet sure will.
Okay. All right. Take care, Jason. All right. We're going to take a quick break, and I'll be back with more of the Farmer Rapid Fire, brought to you by Corteva Biologicals, right after this.
Lima Grain Cereal Seed brings you best-in-class performance for winter and spring wheat, including 12 national wheat yield contest winners in 2024. With the most extensive coaxium portfolio and over 15 top-performing varieties, Lima Grain delivers superior genetics to control grassy weeds when you need it, fall or spring. Boost your yield potential today. Visit limagraincerealseeds.com or call your LCS Regional Commercial Manager for more info.
Before you get back in the field this year, spend some time with the Corn School on RealAgriculture.com. Get all the information you need on hybrid selection, planting depth, crop inputs, and more from a wide range of industry experts. A massive library of video content is available on demand when you need it most. Spend your time outside of the field, inside the classroom, with the Corn School on RealAgriculture.com.
Get all the information you need to keep your pulse crop healthy and profitable with the Pulse School on RealAgriculture.com. The Pulse School is a free YouTube video series covering agronomy, research, and more across a host of different pulse crops. It's also available as an audio podcast wherever you download or stream your favorite podcast. Check us out on YouTube or visit RealAgriculture.com. The Pulse School, brought to you by BSF Canada.
To the Farmer Rapid Fire here on RealAg Radio, on Rural Radio, channel 147, Sirius XM. I am your host for the day, Lyndsey Smith, and of course, the Farmer Rapid Fire, brought to you by Corteva Biologicals. For more information, check out biologicals.corteva.ca. All right, we head to near Uxbridge, Ontario, and I've got Gerrit Herrema on the line. Gerrit, how are you?
I am great, Lyndsey. How are you?
Great. That's a big one. I'm doing okay, but it has been blustery and cold. And very wintry. How are things where you are?
Yeah. Yes. I mean, no different. We've seen few days of 60-plus winds here as well. So, it's been cold, but water's been thawed. So maybe that's why my optimism is a little higher than other times. So,
not having to deal with frozen water when you have livestock is kind of great.
Yes. Now I might have jinxed myself if we get into a real cold snap, but here's hoping.
No, I'm with you. Now, just for everybody following along at home, a quick reminder on the farm setup. What do you have there? What's keeping you busy?
Yeah, we milk cows. We milk about 90 cows and crop about 800 acres. So this time of year, of course, cows are the priority. So that's taken up a lot of our day. And moving snow is the other thing that seems to be taking up the remainder of the time.
Mm-hmm. It has been, I don't know, it feels like we're getting a real winter this year. We kind of didn't have one for 2 years.
Yeah, we were due.
Yeah.
It's nice to see it again.
Yeah, kind of is, isn't it?
But overall, it's been a great winter. I mean, we didn't get that real harsh thaw that we've seen other years. So we don't have any ponding in the fields, which is great for the wheat crop and everything else. Mm-hmm. There's not a heck of a lot of frost in the ground. Winter's still, kind of early. There's still lots of it left. So, but I'm kind of optimistic on what I'm seeing right now coming into spring anyways.
Yeah, that's good. No, we have had, so back to that wheat crop, because we had quite a bit of wind events without a lot of snow cover, and we definitely had a lot of snow happening on fields that had been worked, and there was some topsoil changing hands. How has the snow cover been? As you said, no ponding for the wheat crop, but have you got decent snow cover for anything that went in the fall?
Yeah, for the most part, we've had great snow cover throughout the winter season here anyways. So I'm hoping that we'll see some good stands coming up. Hearing it down in the States, they're saying, 15% loss on the wheat crop as it is. So maybe there's some opportunity for a good wheat crop here to bank on some price increases, but we'll see what happens when they start assessing fields.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I saw that too, that there was definitely some concern about what it looks like in some of the big wheat growing areas, so could work out well. Now, planning for the year ahead, how far are you in your crop planning? Have you guys got everything sort of sorted out and you're just going to work away in the shop, or do you still have decisions to make yet?
Well, we still got some decisions to make. We haven't met with our fertilizer retailer to go over our plan yet. Looking at our soil test levels, we're starting to see our phos levels get up to a good level. So I'm a little bit more comfortable in pulling back the starter on the corn anyways, maybe not the soybeans. So I'd like to have those discussions coming into the spring. Before the market started peaking up, we were trying to figure out if we were going to have to pull back more, but it's nice to see some rallies coming into the winter season here. So, and yeah, we'll start pulling some stuff in the shop. We bought a second forage box. We got to take the roof off to get the high dump to dump into it for the forage harvester, and just pull some stuff in the shop and do some maintenance. We're not doing any real big projects this year, which we're okay with.
Mm-hmm. It's nice sometimes just to have maintenance stuff to do. Interesting to hear about sort of planning the fertilizer component. Definitely, I'm going to assume what with livestock, it means you've got manure in the mix. So, is the phos level something that is one of those ones you try and keep an eye on as far as being able to pull back on the fertilizer side?
Not necessarily. We had dropped our fertility levels back off about 8 or 10 years ago, and we picked them back up to build again. And now that we've seen to build our fertility levels between a good fertility program, trying to maximize the manure we have on the land base that we can get to, we're seeing our levels come up, and not necessarily on the potash, but on the phos anyways. So if it means we can save a few dollars here or there and maintain the levels, that's kind of what we're going with. But as long as it doesn't decrease the yield either is my other concern. Mm-hmm. So we'll see what happens when we come into planning anyways.
Yeah, exactly. Now, and you're right. I mean, making decisions when crop prices aren't the greatest, or if input prices are super high, makes it a lot more difficult. But one question I have on the dairy side, given what's happening with beef cattle, are your bull calves basically your retirement plan at this point, or how's that working out?
Oh, yeah, helping to subsidize the interest rates. Well, luckily we have an interest rate cut this week, which is helping.
Yeah,
but
we did. Yeah.
The black calves have been a saving grace on a lot of farms, both north and south of the border. So, because I got running the numbers, we're about a third of the calves on the ground we calve a year are Angus crosses, and then the rest of them are Holsteins. So, we bank on that cash flow absolutely from them. We did have a neighbor that was taking them, and he's no longer able to take them due to some health concerns. But we've been able to move them through the sales barn and get a great price for them. And, we've thrown around the idea of we're close to the GTA, so the box beef thing has come up in conversation, but it's hard to pencil, especially with the risk of carrying more livestock around, with $1,000 for a drop calf versus, trying to keep that animal alive for a year and a half, 2 years, right? So, it's amazing how the crosses have come into the dairy side as that extra income here within the last 2 to 3 years, more so than anything.
Mm-hmm. The direct sales, though, that the labor component is huge, right? You really have to balance and do you like people enough? That's a key one too, yeah. Gerrit. You got to like people, or somebody on your team has to like people. Okay, that brings me to the question of the week, which is, what is, if you can think of the last thing, but anything is good, but what's the last change that you made on the farm, last thing you adopted after either listening to a podcast, going to a conference, hearing someone speak, that sort of stuff? What was the last thing you adopted because somebody sort of planted that idea in your head?
Oh, that's a great question. Two that come to mind right now. One of which is growing triticale as a spring forage and then plant corn and soybeans afterwards. Nice. And we're doing that this year. We got 65 acres and we're going to try feed both to milk cows and heifers. And the second thing is there was at the same conference actually, a guy talked about transition milk with feeding calves. And so, you feed colostrum, which is the first bit of milk out of the cow to the calf, but then there's been research that there's still enzymes and amino acids that communicate with the calf through the transition milk, and they're showing that 4 or 2 days worth of transition milk just helps to keep that calf a little bit healthier, and then after that the health benefits aren't near as great. So we adapted those two, or the transition milk thing, about 5 years ago, and now the triticale thing is coming on to the farm.
I've never heard about this transmission. Okay, so and did it make a difference in survivability or morbidity? Like, do you notice healthier calves?
Yeah, we do. Yeah, we really do. We have a good vaccine program, which helps. The other thing we did was we switched to mob feeders, so that essentially a big bucket with nipples on it for feeding calves versus pails, and just that slower intake of milk and the ability for the abomasum to intake that milk. We've really seen stronger calves anyways coming out of it.
Yeah,
so
very cool.
It's incredibly important. We've seen that making sure the calf program is as strong as the milk cow program and the dry cow program to get those replacements online and rocking when they hit the milk line.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Love it. Okay. Gerrit, thank you so much for joining me on the Farm Rapid Fire. This is super cool.
No problem. Thanks, Lyndsey.
All right. Take care. We'll be back with the Farmer Rapid Fire, brought to you by Corteva Biologicals, right after this.
Co-op knows your community because we live here too. Our teams are your trusted partners with a range of expertise to help support your entire farm operation. And we're giving back. In the past 5 years, Co-op has invested over $1.1 billion in the prairies through building, upgrading, and expanding local facilities. And we've returned over $1.17 billion to Co-op members in the prairies. Co-op, we're all building something for the future. Here for your farm, here for your family. Learn more at coop.crs/farm.
Infuse some energy into your next corporate event, customer meeting, or conference with RealAg Radio, Canada's national agriculture radio show. Create a unique experience at your next event with host Sean Haney, broadcasting RealAg Radio live on SiriusXM, featuring exciting guests, captivating interviews, and the latest news from the agriculture community. Contact advertising at realagriculture.com or call 587-787-1795 to book your on location with RealAg Radio today. Welcome back to the Farmer Rapid Fire here on this January 30th. I am your host, Lyndsey Smith, and the Farmer Rapid Fire is brought to you by Corteva Biologicals. Check out biologicals.corteva.ca. All right, joining me now on the line from near Crediton, Ontario, is Mike Groot. Mike, how are you?
Good, Lyndsey. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well. All right, for everybody who doesn't know, catch us up. What do you grow on your farm? What's the operation look like?
All right, so we do, we're mainly cash crops, corn, soybeans, wheat, hay in the rotation, the odd buckwheat crop, the odd oat crop, the odd here and there. We like to dabble a little bit. We've got cow-calf operation and some sheep. And, I think that's basically it. There's usually lots on the go. We're growing lots of kids, too. Just had our fourth child 3 months ago. I'm sure something else will pop into my...
Yeah, I think we had talked just before that baby arrived, I think.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. It has been a little bit, but yep.
Yeah.
It's all going well,
Good. 4 is a lot. You're very outnumbered.
Yeah. At least now my son, 7-year-old now, he just turned 7.
Yeah.
At least now we got a boy again, so now everything's even at home.
Oh, right.
3 boys, 3 girls right now. So that was the main thing with him. So
right. Yeah.
To go.
Yeah. Kids, it's very important at that age for things to be fair. So.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Well, congratulations on that. That's pretty great. Now, it does sound, of course, in addition to all those children, that is a long list of things that you've got going on. I'm going to ask, of course, how are the sheep doing?
Sheep are fine. So I think you know that I dabble in both the pasture-based system and I also have a commercial barn flock. The pasture-based system is currently living in a bush right now, and they're living life out there. They love it. And the sheepdog out there, it's going quite well. So no complaints from what I've heard.
Mm-hmm. Here's the cool thing about sheep, everybody. They have wool. So they do just fine outside. Yeah. Ours are out there too, currently enjoying some very blustery weather. That's for sure. But as long as they've got some shelter, they're just fine. Now, okay, so hang on. We're also going to back up a second because we've been talking a bit about buckwheat in the rotation, using buckwheat to potentially free up phosphorus in the soil, all sorts of stuff that have been happening on the agronomic front. Why do you grow buckwheat?
It started out as just a cover crop for that very reason. Because I had heard through, a few years ago, the research, right? The internet videos, all those popular internet videos of these guys that can low input farming, whatever. Buckwheat was talked about as a phosphorus scavenging plant. And I just have been dabbling in it for quite a while now. And then there was a bit of a buckwheat shortage for a bit. And for some reason, but the 1 year buckwheat all of a sudden hit like $1 a pound for seed, and it turned out to be my most profitable crop that year. So now I kind of dabble in it too, just for that. But I also do recognize the benefits of those nice little fibrous roots are very beneficial for everything. But yeah, it's almost a mainstay now because of that. But it's easy to grow, and it's got a short growing season, and it looks nice. We took some family pictures out there. And
it does.
Let other families come out there and take pictures too, and it works quite well in our system because we like to be not as efficient and dabble in all these little small things all the time for some reason. So it works well.
No worries. So look out, sunflowers. Buckwheat is coming for you. It's your next.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's where all the family pictures will be. I really like that though. I appreciate the whole right time, right place kind of thing, right? That you dabble in these things, and it means that every once in a while you hit a home run, and there's nothing wrong with that. Yeah, interesting sort of discussion. The other thing, of course, that people talk about with buckwheat in the rotation is it means that you kind of are always a buckwheat grower. So do you find that it's a weed in other parts of your system, or are you diversified enough it's not an issue?
Yeah, I've never had an issue. No, it's one of those things that are pretty easy to kill. Yeah, I know. Yeah, you do drop a lot of seeds in the ground, because it is a weird plant. It matures very unevenly, and yeah, but no. Short answer for that is a no. Yeah, and if there is something growing, I'm trying to cover as many acres as possible with grazing, and animals the sheep especially just gobble everything like that up real quick. So
I like to tell people sheep don't know it's a weed if it's a weed.
No, and it's amazing. Like my sheep did. I think they looked the best last year coming off of like a 10 or 15 acre field that I had kind of let go after wheat, and weeds came like crazy. Queen Anne's lace, lamb's quarters. I forget what else was out there. Lots of burdock, and they came off that like just looking the best they've ever looked. I feel like they're such an amazing animal for that, and that's why I do not want them to leave the system we have, because you put them out there and they'll eat it no matter what it is pretty well.
I will say, though, for anyone who had been watching cull prices, if you did have extra ewes, it was a good time to offload them.
And I did. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, it was. I don't know who we have to thank for that. If it's the cattle guys pulling us along with them, if it's,
maybe,
completely other, I don't know who it is, but I will say we sold ours a month too early. So enjoy your amazing cull prices. At the same time, fewer mouths to feed over the winter. That's okay. We still did fine. So that's okay. Okay. Exactly. My question of the week is, I think, Mike, you're a good person to answer this. What was the last change you made on your farm based on a conference or a webinar or a podcast that you listened to? What was the last thing that you can think of that you were like, I'm going to try that, and actually went and did it?
That's a good question. I've done so many things over the years. I'm trying to think of the last thing. Probably things that I would like to implement are some more of the technology, like the spray boom technology and things like that. I've been finding on a farm, because we dabble in so many of these things, right? These small little things here and there. It's nice to pick things up when you can. And as far as chemicals go, I do not like working with chemicals personally, but I do it, right? But if you can just make that more efficient with these shut-offs, I'm probably not going to be able to afford some of these on-off systems and targeting systems, right? But it's definitely on the wish list that we could just come up with ways to maybe save some just blanket treatments on whole fields, right? If we can. And fitness is one thing that I'm wanting to implement more into our operation health-wise, right? Becoming fitter, healthier. There was something I was listening to this morning. Somebody had said something like, when you lose your health, you're willing to pay any kind of money to get it back. But nobody's really thinking ahead on that, being like, maybe we should just try tackling small things here and there, the basics right now, so you maybe don't find yourself in that position later on, right? And because usually it's too late by the time you get there.
And that totally qualifies.
The steps now, especially for farmers in the off season here, right? Like almost off season, like us animal people, where there's not really an off season, but everybody's kind of not out and about moving around as much as maybe they were 20, 30 years ago. And if you can just prioritize your sleep, especially in the off season here, prioritize your sleep, get your 10,000 steps in a day, cut out the processed foods as much as possible, just move around, right? And your mental health is going to get better. Your physical health is going to get better. You're going to be stronger, faster, and willing to take on the next day so much better.
But you're bang on. I know maybe it's not a direct agriculture thing, but in fact, it's probably the thing we don't tackle enough of, is that you or the farm CEO or the main person or whoever that may be, you're probably the most important part of the everyday of a farm. So you better take care of you. I think that's probably pretty important.
Oh yeah. And it doesn't take long to cloud your mind if your mind is a little bit foggy from all the bad stuff that you're kind of consistently doing. If you can kind of clear that up a little bit, you're going to be hopefully making better decisions and being able to capitalize on opportunities that come up.
I like it. Good stuff, Mike. Perfect. Okay, let's leave it there. Have a wonderful day. Thank you for joining me here on the Farmer Rapid Fire, brought to you by Corteva Biologicals.
Awesome. Thanks, Lyndsey.
We'll be back with more of the Farmer Rapid Fire, brought to you by Corteva Biologicals, right after this.
RealAg Radio is Canada's only daily radio show focused on agriculture. Get expert advice on Agronomic Monday. Tuesdays and Wednesdays will cover a broad range of issues. Thursday we'll hear from farmers across the country on the Farmer Rapid Fire. And we'll wrap things up Fridays with the RealAg Issues panel with Kelvin Hefner and Lyndsey Smith. Join us Monday through Friday at 4:30 Eastern. And don't forget about the replay at 7 in the morning on Rural Radio 147, Sirius XM.
I'm Lyndsey Smith from RealAgriculture.com. Join me Monday nights for The Agronomist, a 1-hour live and interactive show broadcast across YouTube, Facebook, and X. Monday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern, I host expert agronomists from all over the country to give you answers to some of the toughest agronomic questions. Join us live or catch the replay Tuesday morning. That's The Agronomist with me, Lyndsey Smith, Monday nights live at 8 p.m. Eastern. Welcome back to Real Ag Radio here on Rural Radio, Channel 147, Sirius XM. I am your host for the day, Lyndsey Smith, and joining me now is Lorelei Yeboah. She's the Portfolio Marketing Manager for Fungicides with Corteva Biologicals. Welcome here, Lorelei.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Happy to be here.
All right. So what keeps you busy in a day? What do you all handle with that portfolio?
You know what? For me, it's a really exciting new portfolio because Corteva's just kind of getting into the fungicide realm in the last few years, which involves quite a bit of get our foot in the door, getting ourselves into that, launching brand new products and prepping for the full pipeline of stuff that's to come. So in a day, I spend all kinds of time talking to our sales folks, talking with the industry and supply folks, planning ahead for the season, preparing everything that's required for our new products and making sure we've got everything we need going into the season, especially right now. It's really from start to finish. We're busy.
It is a busy time of year now, and you are very busy because you do have 2 brand new products to roll out this year.
Well, we had 2 brand new products that came out. So we have Viatude fungicide, the canola fungicide that came out 2023. And then we have Zytigo PRM, and that's a pulse fungicide. And that one had its expanded label come out just last year. So now we're fully into the pulse market and the canola market, both with our fungicide line. So there is a lot happening in that realm, and we're looking to do even more.
Mm-hmm. What has been some of the feedback on, dipping your toe in the fungicide market? How has it gone?
It's been really good. I mean, we knew that our loyal Corteva customers needed an option from us. So it made sense just to be in that marketplace for sure. Some of the feedback we've got is it really blends nicely into the Flex Plus Rewards categories. So people can really, it's quite profitable to have that as part of that program. Particularly on the products, the pulse fungicides, the Zytigo, really made sense, and we've got good feedback on how it is easy to use. It's co-formulated, so farmers like that it mixes easy, and they've had no handling issues. It's just been great and filled a really big gap for us. As far as the sclerotinia disease protection we get from Viatude, that one was a no-brainer too. 2 actives in that one that both control sclerotinia by themselves. So we've got a ton of canola, as you know, and it made sense for our canola growers to also have that protection for disease management.
Now tell me about there are some special things about the Corteva portfolio, including a new group. So tell me more about that.
I would say that is the most exciting thing because Corteva was able to do a ton of research, and they brought Adavelt active. So that's our group 21. And it's naturally derived from naturally occurring fungicide that was found in soil microbes. So it's pretty cool how they came to be. Now we've got it in our brand new Zytigo. That's the active in there. And the greatest thing about that one is it's probably the first active introduced into the pulse market in decades. So it's a brand new tool. The way I would explain it to folks is it's going to be an awesome rotational option for farmers, like another tool in the toolbox, because we know they've got group 7s and group 3s and 11s that are used over and over and again. And now there's a brand new group, that 21, to mix it up and prevent the loss of efficacy or any resistance forming to those groups that we rely on so heavily. Plus, Canada farmers were the first in the world to get Adavelt active in a pulse fungicide. So it was pretty special for even us to bring it out and bring it home.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Now, always nice to have an option, obviously, on the resistance side, on the management side. Our question this week to farmers was about trying something new. So what's your advice for those with some of these new options, introducing some of these, evaluating new products on the farm?
Yeah, no, that's a good question. We often answer that too. I know for us, data goes a long way when people are kind of curious, hey, does this work? And we're ramping up more and more data trials and testing. I just saw the data come back from 2024, and it was really encouraging to see that both fungicides actually were incredibly competitive, the same, if not better than the competitive standards. So that's a good thing to see. So then it becomes kind of a no-brainer how it fits in your farm. But as far as specifically with that group 21, even if you don't need to try something new and you feel like, hey, I've got this, it ain't broke, don't fix it. It's preventing that potential, because we do know the pathogens are evolutionally, their ability to develop resistance is there. We see it. We know that happens, and they're pretty quick to do that. So pulling in another tool, not necessarily replacing, but putting it in rotation, I would say, sure, look at the data to make sure the product's going to work for you and it's a good fit on your farm, how it is. But also keep in mind of where the future is going, because you're preventing the problems of tomorrow, for sure.
Mm-hmm. All right. And so for growers who are canola or pulse growers who are looking for more information, where can they go for these products and, of course, all the others that Corteva offers?
Yeah, excellent. So we've got the website. We've got corteva.ca. You've also got your local territory managers who have a wealth of knowledge, as well as the technical sales agronomists that I'm sure most people know throughout the industry. But give me a shout anytime. You can link me, and I'm happy to always talk fungicides. And then we'll be reaching out. We're going to do webinars to get more training, especially about that group 21. So that'll be able to find that online. There's YouTube videos and stuff like that. Hopefully lots more than anyone could hope for.
Mm-hmm. All right. Okay. Lorelei, thank you so much for joining me on the show today. I really appreciate it.
It was a pleasure, Lyndsey. Thank you.
Well, that wraps up another edition of the Farmer Rapid Fire right here on RealAg Radio on Rural Radio Channel 147, Sirius XM. I have been your host, Lyndsey Smith. Thank you so much for joining me. And of course, thank you to Corteva Biologicals for making the Farmer Rapid Fire happen. Thank you as well to my farmers today for joining me, Kevin, Mike, Gerrit, and Jason. I do appreciate you taking time out of your day to make this possible. As I mentioned at the open, if you're interested in joining our Farmer Rapid Fire panel, you can give me a shout, lsmith@realagriculture.com, or call that RealAg feedback line, 1-855-776-6147. Tomorrow, of course, is Friday. We will be back with the issues panel. We've got Sean Haney will be your host, Kelvin Hepner, and Tyler McCann will all be joining. We, of course, also have the beef market update happening tomorrow. You won't want to miss that. If you've been following along what's happening with live cattle futures, just on an absolute tear these days. So some pretty cool stuff to unpack for tomorrow's show. Please check that out. And of course, as always, head on over to realagriculture.com/subscribe. There's a whole host of email blasts that you can sign up for there. Make sure you're not missing any of our great content. We do appreciate when you sign up, and keep in touch. All right. I will talk to you tomorrow. Cheers, everybody.